Look at that. I haven't held one of these in my hand since I was a teenager, running courier routes through the lower transit hubs. The Nomad-Krypton. Look at the sheer density of it. Modern rigs are practically weightless, woven into your clothing or projected right onto your retina. But this is a solid, unyielding brick of high-impact acrylic and dense silicone. You can feel the gravity of it. It requires 2 hands. It demands your physical attention. I love that they went with the fully transparent casing for this specific production run. You can see the entire skeletal structure of the motherboard right through the plastic. The copper heat pipes wrapping around the primary processor. The tiny gold contact points where the battery connects. It's completely naked, unashamed of its own engineering. And listen to those switches. They used mechanical, low-profile tactile domes under every single input. The D-pad, the shoulder triggers, even the auxiliary pause button. Every time you pressed a direction, you felt it snap back against your thumb. It was an absolute necessity for the environment it was built for. You see, back in the 2040s, the maglev transit system was a nightmare. Millions of people packed shoulder to shoulder in these massive steel tubes, hurtling beneath the city at 300 kilometers an hour. The noise was deafening. The electromagnetic interference scrambled most wireless signals. You were completely cut off from the global network for hours every single day. And so people bought these. They bought them by the millions. You'd step onto a train, and the entire car would be illuminated by the soft, localized glow of these tiny liquid crystal displays. Everyone holding their own little self-contained universe in their palms. Let's get this rear panel off. The clips are a bit stubborn after sitting dormant for half a century, but they aren't brittle. The polymer blend they used back then was designed to survive being dropped on concrete platforms. There we go. Oh, the smell of aged electronics. It never changes. It's ozone and oxidized metal mixed with a faint trace of, is that synthetic ozone? Let me grab my electrostatic brush. There's a lot of particulate matter built up around the exhaust vents. Street dust. Skin cells. It's funny how an object like this becomes a time capsule. When you held this rig on a crowded train, you weren't just playing a game. You were building a wall. The click of the buttons, the glow of the screen, and told the rest of the packed, suffocating world that you were unavailable. You were exploring a digital dungeon, or managing a pixelated farm, or racing anti-grav ships. You were anywhere but on that train. I'm just applying a drop of isopropyl solvent. The connection here looks a little clouded. Sometimes the ambient humidity from people breathing into these crowded transit cars would seep through the seams of the plastic and cause micro-corrosion on these copper pins. Just a gentle wipe, clearing away the fog. It's fascinating how solitary the experience was. Today, every experience is shared. If you play a simulation, your neural data is broadcast to a dozen passive observers. Your heart rate, your adrenaline spikes, it's all harvested, analyzed, and shared in the collective cloud. But the Nomad, it was a closed loop. The data stayed right here, on a physical cartridge that slid into the top slot. Whatever you did in that game, whatever mistakes you made, or victories you achieved, they belonged only to you. No one was watching. No algorithm was judging your reaction time. It was an incredibly private form of joy. And there, the display array is reseated. Let's check the power delivery system. The old lithium-ion packs usually bloat and turn into hazardous waste. But this one looks surprisingly flat. It's an aftermarket cell. Someone replaced the original battery right before this unit went into storage. And let's see if it holds any residual charge. Barely a whisper. That's alright. I have a direct current bypass cable right here on the rack. We can feed it clean power straight from the shop's grid, just to see if the central processor is still breathing. Alright. Power is flowing. Take a look at the translucent casing. Do you see that? The internal fiber optics are waking up. That slow, pulsing cyan light spreading through the plastic chassis. It means the power sequence has cleared the initial safety checks. And now for the tactile switch. Right there on the bottom left edge. I want you to press it. Slide it upward. You'll feel the mechanical resistance right before it engages. The display just fired. Look at the colors. They aren't perfectly calibrated like modern retinal overlays. The blacks are a little washed out, and the reds bleed slightly at the edges of the pixels. But it's alive. The boot sequence is crawling across the screen, line by line, exactly the way it did 80 years ago. It responds instantly. No lag, no network buffering, just a pure, localized hardware reacting to a human touch. It feels good, doesn't it? To hold something that doesn't demand anything from you. It doesn't need your biometric data. It doesn't need a subscription key. It just waits patiently for you to press a button, and then it responds. And I'll put the shell back together for you. And you can take this external power pack. It's fully charged and will keep the console running for at least 40 continuous hours. You should take it down to the lower promenade tonight. Find a quiet bench where the neon signs flicker against the puddles. Plug in some wired headphones and just detach. And let the city rush by without you for a while. But it makes me wonder, looking at this little transparent box of isolated memories. Tell me, if you could permanently unplug from the collective network, severing every tie to the digital noise of the world, just to keep one perfect private sanctuary entirely to yourself, would you have the courage to press that switch?